Guys, brisulph here, and welcome back to another Dragon Warrior Randomizer tournament race. Today we have I think it's the opening salvo of the round of 16. But before we get into all that, I'm the co-commentator for this, JackimusWedge. Jack, how you doing?
Doing good, boy. How's about you?
I'm just really pumped up and excited to watch this race between GameboyF9 and JjSchmidt77. This is the 17 seed versus the 32nd seed. So JJ already took down the #1 overall seed in the opening round of the knockouts and is facing now the two-time defending champion of the summer tournament.
Should be a pretty good matchup tonight, I would say.
Absolutely. I really just super excited to see what we're going to get here for starting stats and spells and all that fun stuff. See what the throne room's got. See how these guys are going to handle the challenge that is coming their way.
I'm looking forward to a lot of people getting potentially eaten by red dragons myself.
Well, it looks like it might be a bit of a slow start here if those stats at the bottom are telling the truth. 4 strength to start. That is unideal.
The pen is probably too heavy right now.
So they're just going to have to tell stories, like Bard it up here.
Yes, exactly. You know, they're going to have to bore a few slimes to death.
Well, they're not going to bore us to death, hopefully, as they start off here as we're headed into the throne room to check out the first 3 items. We, of course, know what the top box will be a magic key, but what are the 2 right near the king going to use? Not exactly a murderer's row of great items. We have a torch and fairy water, and, of course, no spells, so that's not great.
We are not off in pacing here. We are off in crawling. This could be a very nasty beginning here.
So what they're looking for are going to be slimes and red slimes, essentially. Maybe a Drakey if they're feeling lucky for a crit. And speaking of a Drakey, there's one. Oh, we do have a nearby town, though.
A nearby town, yes, but we do have $0.
But we have coal. This could be a nice little get at the start here. Oh my. And by the way, that Drakey used DL2 breath. Drakey's not friendly. It's the fairy flute. It's vanilla location for the fairy flute. They can now put golems to sleep. That doesn't seem that useful.
They can play a nice little song.
That is very true. That is extremely true.
They can entertain us with their music toot as they continuously get burned alive by Drakeys for a bit, presumably.
Absolutely. So we did see that the Scorpions have stop spells, so they could be something to look at when the strength goes a little higher. If they're going to be missing stop spells, those are free turns for these guys to swing away.
Yeah, could be very useful after we get that first level. And there's JJ getting roasted alive. Nice and crispy.
Absolutely. We also have a bit of swamp here to the east with some desert beyond. And there's another crispy hero, unfortunately. So we're still waiting to see the first enemy they could... well, as I say, a slime shows up. Still failing to damage it, though. We have a tickle fight going on between a slime and JjSchmidt here, but that will finish off the slime. And another town. Look at this. Insurmountable lead and such. It's Hawksness. All right. And another slime. And hey, your wish is about to come true, Jack. And they have sleep.
They have sleep.
Oh, boy.
Fun police are armed with that pepper spray today. Uh-oh.
Another slime for JjSchmidt. Definitely found the zone to be in here with stuff that can be killed. And with that high defense, the slimes will be just plinking 1 or none off of the hero here. We have a red now for game.
The red is worth 2 experience points. That will cut this experience lead in basically half here. So we're going to have 4 experience versus 2.
And the good
That
news...
first level comes at 5 points, and it could make a massive difference.
And there's another red for Game Boy and a slime for JjSchmidt. So this should bring level 2 here. Let's see what's going to happen. We have 11 power, that's nice, 5 hit points, 2 magic points. No agility, but they're a little fast, and we get Radiant, not the most useful thing. And there's another red dragon for Game Boy. They also have DL2. Sleep and DL2 breath on a red dragon.
I don't envy these players one bit right now.
The good news is with that level 2 strength gain, JjSchmidt can take on a few monsters up the chain here, at least to a ghost anyway. The Drakey still might be a bit dangerous with that breath. Seems pretty likely to fire it off, but Ghost might be in play now.
Haven't seen Magician yet, but they're at least in play.
With the high defense, provided they've got nothing dangerous. We also have heal on the Drakeys. That is just... oh man. Brutal.
Mercifully, they don't have too many hit points, though. So even at that 15 strength, I believe there's an outside shot of rolling max damage, which would be 5.
Well, we are in Tablet Cave with GameboyF9, so let's see what we're going to get. That was a Drakey takedown there for JjSchmidt, up to 11 experience, only 6 more to go to level 3.
Oh, we're closing in on the chest on Game Boy's side. I'm tingling with excitement to see the contents. It is an herb.
There was a girl up in the basement. Game Boy just stole the produce.
Kind of weird for them to be a grow-off going there because herbs are legal in Alefgard. The new king is pretty popular for passing those laws.
Well, that's always a good thing to see. Now, unfortunately for Game Boy, has trouble here finding another red slime or a slime. Still trying to take on a ghost right now, hoping for a lucky crit, but not looking good, and the ghost wins this one.
What might be nice right now for JJ at level 2, that Scorpion who's got pretty high chance, might be something you could take down here.
I think JJ is just fine plinking down these slimes and having a good time. They've been lining up here to get killed one time. Well, that one ran away, unfortunately. I guess it saw what happened to all the other family members.
That too, and it just wants to spite him, knowing that he only needs 1 point to gain that potentially all-important level 3.
Both of our players are 1 experience point away from a level. GameboyF9 still seeking level 2 for the nice strength gain. And JjSchmidt trying to get to level 3.
Well, we have a death pretty much in unison. One player getting killed by a drone, and the other one electing to dive into the swamp.
That's not how you're successful at swimming.
No, only it's not.
Here's a Drakey opportunity for JjSchmidt. Goes for the hit, gets it, and here we go. Level 3 coming down the pipe. That agility is nice. The rest of it, well, the spell might make the level. Not really.
It does have situational use.
This is true. This is very true. Could you stop spell on that red dragon and just plink it down?
I wouldn't count on it.
Seems unlikely.
The main issue being the 0 to 1. I mean, I could see you plinking down a red dragon over 90-some rounds of combat, but close to 200? Forget it.
So you're saying there's a chance?
No, I'm Namekianing there's a chance.
Speaking of stop spells, there's a stop spell attempt from the Warlock. Warlock also has Baby Breath, so probably a little big to take here. But hey, Game Boy's going to get the nice strength gain here after this fight.
That will get him on his way here. get him off of his crawling hands and onto his crouching feet.
All right, another red slime. Quick takedown there by GameboyF9. Still needs 10 more experience to get to level 3. Just waiting to see when that breakout level is going to come. We have a Drakey takedown now for GameboyF9. JjSchmidt gets lucky, doesn't get roasted after the Draki doesn't die in one round of combat.
Luck is important in this. You got to take every single break that you get, like a Kit Kat bar. I could go for one of those right
this
now.
could be, oh, stop spell would be good for this guy. But unfortunately, Game Boy is without stop spell and just stays asleep the whole time and gets slaughtered.
He must have been up past his bedtime last night, Brian.
Well, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and if you got to sleep through your own murder from a murder bat, you just take care of business. Have we seen the weapon shop yet in Cole?
We have seen the weapon shop in Cole.
Well, I must have missed that. Anything in particular that they might be looking to get here?
A hand axe would be quite nice, but it's not really within the realm of affordability quite yet.
This is true, but we have some extra defense now for JjSchmidt buying a Dragon Scale. Once equipped, 2 extra defense power permanently added to his player. And despite selling it back to the merchant, that defense stays in place.
See, the Dragon Scale is like a bottle of Coca-Cola. They'll give you a refund on the empty, but it's more important that you drink it.
GameboyF9 just 2 experience points away from that not big breakout of level 3, as JjSchmidt is closing in pretty quickly on level 4.
Level 4 is at 37 points, so he's got about 8 to go here.
Probably wants to see some ghosts. They've been pretty uncommon, but they also have been a little mean.
Oh, we've got another crispy Game Boy to add to the pile.
That pile is getting somewhat excessive on Game Boy's side.
Yes. Luckily, though, Nintendo builds their products to last, so even though he's a little toasty and charred, he's right back out there and ready to try again.
This is true. And hey, don't worry. They'll pile another one up. Drakey's going for MVP of this particular seed right now.
Drakey's responsible for the vast majority of deaths we've seen incurred by both players so far.
However, there will be some heavy hitters coming later that'll have a shot at it. And here we go. Level 4 for JjSchmidt. No strength again.
Not particularly helpful so far. But those extra stats, a bit of a difference, though. Hit points does put the player past a threshold where they're guaranteed to be able to survive at least a baby breath at full health.
And Game Boy did get level 3, but got the bad news. And there's a heal on a Druid, so if they're going to fight Druids, that stop spell will have to be used.
And of course, the heal comes after a excellent move by JjSchmidt. It was a very excellent choice to pick the fight command on that particular frame.
So something that might be entering their minds if they would deign to look for it, they possibly could try to find a metal slime at this point. I believe they're playing standard flags. The metal slimes would be unable to run away.
That is true. Their strength is less than 20. If they were to luck out and find one such enemy, that would be a guaranteed, just about, large chunk of change.
Absolutely.
Game Boy takes down the Magidraki with very excellent use of the stop spell.
Very nice to see that indeed. And, you know, with Hawksness right there, you can just stick your nose in and see what pops up. You never quite know what will be loose in Hawksness. You're not going to take out the spike monster, of course.
If you're thinking of hunting metal slimes, it could be an interesting play. They could be in the enemy pack that is in Hawksness.
There's a stop spell on the Warlock, and the Warlock says, "That's fine. I've got fiery breath." And another roasted Game Boy on the pile.
Game Boy must be planning a large family barbecue tonight, Brian.
And speaking of baby breath, Poltergeist gets JjSchmidt, throws him into the barbecue.
Just toss it into the incinerator with the rest.
These early enemies are really firing it up, you might say. Well, don't give me the Lorgon treatment now. Come on. Another failed Drakey takedown, and it, of course, goes to its favorite move.
It's everyone's favorite move, let's be completely honest here.
Meanwhile,
if only the player could learn that move.
Game Boy is taking on a Druin here, probably not aware of that heal.
No, definitely not. We haven't seen it on his side yet.
Is JjSchmidt maybe asking for a reroll? I'm kind of curious there. We do have a cave in the swamp there to the east of Hawks.
Oh, very interesting.
And a town as well in the swamp, so there is stuff around.
There's some potential for quicker...
This could be big. This could be big. What do we got in the freebie cave here? Just a torch.
Just a torch. Little disappointing.
I got it. I got the plan, clearly. They just need to keep going in and out of the cave to get the herbs. And then they just need to go in and out there and get torches and just go sell stuff nonstop. And then they can do things. That seems insane. And it's Ketlin, the town in the swamp, so they could get the coordinates fairly early if they can find a key.
And there's lots of options for purchasable equipment there if they are ever to accumulate any money, which is very difficult when you are dying left, right, center, upwards, downwards, and upwards. I don't know if I mentioned that one or not.
May have to exit stage left, exit stage right. It's a whole thing.
Indeed. We've got Game Boy up to level 4 at last. And we are at a dead heat here right now. This is a very close race.
Yes, for those saying this is a brutal C, they did not watch the Will Wagner Music versus Angel FM race from last night. That was heinous.
Yes, unfortunately, Will Wagner was stuck playing to an arena without an amplifier.
And he didn't know how to play just acoustic, apparently. So we are currently grinding up to level 5 here with GameboyF9 versus JjSchmidt. There's a lot of things around with dangerous breath attacks, like this Drakey, for example.
That'll be another trip to the penalty box for JJ.
They are also up against the western edge of the world, it appears. So they will have to do their exploration to the east and the north, it appears.
And that is going to necessitate walking through some swamp. So we might see some raiding of Erdrick's herb stash.
Might be the way to go. I mean, it's about, what, a 80-second down and back sort of trip, but it might be worth it. Being able to dark walk that cave efficiently will come into effect. There's the heal from the Drakey, and the heal again from the Drakey.
We've got a heal loop going.
I got it. It's not a Drakey anymore. It's a heal key.
Heal key. It unlocks the door to frustration. Game Boy taking down a Scorpion. And now he's running into the heal key, and he's deciding, perhaps wisely, to just run away.
Is it really only 45 seconds to walk down there, get the chest, and walk back out?
I think it's less than that. It never feels like it's too long.
I would think that it would be a little longer than 45 to round trip it, though. Oh, look at that. Well, if you can do it efficiently, it might be a good play just to get some heals in place. The Scorpion should be pretty good eats, especially if they can block the stop spell as Game Boy has done.
And the Scorpion is down.
Absolutely. And another one shows up, and oh boy, another takedown. This one by a Magidrakey, who have the breath. I wasn't aware of that.
So now, once we see those Drakimas, we need to complete the trilogy. They need to have the Dragon Lord 2 breath as well.
The murder bats are out in full force here, boys and girls.
Game Boy is feasting on Scorpions right now. This will be the third one that he's taken down, and that should get him to level 5.
Indeed it will. We're just waiting for the actual plinking to finish. So what do you think? Are we going to see a heal spell, hurt more, a good strength game? We need something here to get this breakout going. We have no strength, for goodness sakes, game. 11 agility, 2 hit points, 10 magic, no spell. Are you kidding me?
That is not going to necessarily get us anywhere here. The extra defense helps, of course, but there's nothing that's really going to make a huge difference on in terms of the enemy pool that we've seen so far.
And a wizard showed up in that same rough zone, deciding to give Game Boy the business. We have another cave over here in the swamp to the east. Game Boy heading in there now.
Trudging right through that swamp like Atreyu in that one movie.
If a magician's in the cave with an excellent move, down it goes. Very nice. I believe this to be Garen's grave based on what I thought I saw. No, this is swamp. We're in Swamp South, so trying to get to Swamp North right now, Game Boy F9.
See if he can backdoor into anywhere interesting with some treasures.
We do. Unfortunately not, but we do have a town nearby. It is Rimeldar and has enough for 1 key.
He has enough for 1 key. This could be the breakout.
This is a big get here for Game Boy. I mean, I don't want to tell, armchair Monday morning quarterback this, but I think you should just spend it at the inn here. Don't you need 2 to get the treasure box? That's why I'm not in the knockout stages.
Exactly, Brian.
And a wizard is, wow, he gets away from the wizard, continues to explore, and the wizard shows up again.
That 47 agility putting in work for Game Boy right now.
Absolutely. Taking on the poltergeist, who, remember, has baby breath, can finish this off at any point, but seems content to just plink it away here.
I think Game Boy may have just euthanized himself.
I'm expecting we'll see a save here and then check of the treasury.
And that's exactly what we're going to see here.
Meanwhile, JjSchmidt gets an unfortunate Drakey encounter.
4 chests in this treasury, 4 opportunities for something to help our players get out of the torch.
We have the silver harp.
His music is indeed electric.
We have gold and gold, so a hand axe could be obtained now easily enough. And we are going to have a save from Game Boy. I wonder if Game Boy's going to try to get back to Rimeldar first for keys or just go get a hand axe right now.
He does have options with that 1,400 golds.
Well, we'll have to see what the 2-time defending champ chooses to do. Appears to be heading for that hand axe.
I think the hand axe is the correct play here. That extra offense is going to go a long way when the game has just completely refused to give any strength bonuses the last 3 painstaking level ups.
It probably didn't refuse, it just forgot it could give strength ups, that's all.
So we've got the hand axe and the large shield for Game Boy.
Great, reasonable equipment here now for Game Boy. Things should be picking up.
That will expand his palette for monster consumption significantly.
5 damage to a warlock just shows the power of the hand axe right there. And keep in mind, if this Warlock is defeated, that is 28 experience points coming for Game Boy. Very nice, gets it done. And now we might see this lead start to grow significantly.
JJ's still fighting, hanging in tough. Defeats that Druin, and he's going to get up to level 5.
Probably really getting frantic about that lack of strength, as I'm sure Game Boy did, hitting 5.
Indeed. Very close on experience, but the knowledge of where to collect more keys for Game Boy and that equipment has him sitting in a considerably more comfortable chair.
Ooh, a crit.
It's not a very comfortable chair. It's still a nasty wooden bench, but he's not sitting on a milk crate like JJ is at the moment.
That was a great takedown of a Warlock in one turn with an excellent move. And that gets Game Boy, after that Drakey, really close to the level up. And once this Warlock is defeated, this will be level 6. So, make your predictions now in the chat. Are we going to see a good spell? Are we going to see a big strength gain? Are we going to see nothing again? What are we going to get on this level? Oh, but wait a minute. There's the breath attack from the Warlock. May have spoke too soon. No, Game Boy gets it done. So here's the stat gains for level 6. 15 power. There it is. 5 agility, 1 hit point, 2 magic points. But still, no spells to help them with healing or attacking.
However, it is worth pointing out that Game Boy has straight up tripled his attack power in the last 2 minutes of gameplay.
You gotta love that. You had to expect there was a big strength gain coming somewhere. 3 straight levels of 0. The game has to have some big levels coming here.
Absolutely, and I think more importantly is that the 50 gold for each of those Warlock kills is going to enable Game Boy to buy some herbs here.
Buy some herbs, be able to heal, do a little more grinding, go get more keys, can check the inn, can, do some, check the basement of Tanagil. There's lots of things that could be opened up here, potentially.
Yes, Game Boy is definitely off and walking at this point.
We would say running, but I'm worried that he would just trip over a murder bat and die.
He needs to get shoes with better traction, in the form of more than 1 key in his inventory.
There's an equipped dragon scale now for Game Boy F9. 2 more defense power added. And another Warlock, just what he wants to see.
The more the merrier.
Scorpions would also be a nice enemy at this point, but that hand axe and their use of stop spell, they'd be almost free for minimal damage. This Poltergeist is kind of annoying. It only gives 15 experience and 19 gold, but I was going to say should be a 2-turn battle, but it was not. And then a whiff. Uh-oh.
Oh my goodness. No, he's got it. He's got it.
Game Boy F9 did equip the scale, yes, when he stepped out of town and got in the desert. And a wizard kill there on JjSchmidt. Wizards are trying to make their mark on this seed, but they got a long way to go to catch up to the Drakies.
It's the wrong type of magician enemy for JJ to be fighting at the moment here.
Yeah, not what he wants to see. No stop spell land, unfortunately.
JJ did find that Warlock, but he doesn't have that hand axe, so I don't really think he has the luxury of being able to damage it.
And now the Drakies are evening out the death count pretty hard, as Game Boy F9 is rapidly approaching level 7. Only 68 experience to go, pardon me.
Yes, game very hard at magic school with these Warlocks right now. We'll have to see if his studies pays off and he actually learns how to do anything with said pool of magic.
Well, he is definitely asking them lots of questions. That is for sure.
An intuitive mind is a sharp mind.
Question in chat of how Game Boy got this equipment. He went through the swamp cave, which is in the swamp to the east of Tanagil, exited out the north side of the cave, and there was Rimildar. Had enough for 1 key, ended up death warping back to the castle and found 2 gold chests in the armory at the castle and was able to afford a hand axe and the large shield. And speaking of Game Boy, here comes level 7. Let's see if there's going to be a good spell here. No strength again. This game is straight up trolling. Oh my goodness, no spell. Are you kidding me?
So much for lucky number 7. That did nothing.
I think MTI is literally just dead on the floor from an overdose of 0 strength.
Someone should perhaps send some EMTs to check up on that young man.
EMTs for MTI. That sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
So the grind is going to continue on JjSchmidt's side, but I think Game Boy is now ready to try to jaunt through that swamp cave again. We didn't really see any encounters in there previously, so we have no idea what dangerous things lurk in the dark. Thought about Radiant, or maybe it was just checking for outside to see if the spell had been picked up. That would have warped Game Boy through. Spectre would be a bit much probably for Game Boy at this point.
It may be doable with the herbs in inventory.
If a wolf doesn't have anything bad, this should be an enemy that could be taken down. A bit of a risk, though, taking on, not knowing what they do.
Exactly. You could see the trepidation on Game Boy's side, but he's got 2 nice rolls, and that wolf is down.
We have a Wraith Knight. Not necessarily what you want to see. I wonder if Game Boy's going to heal here.
No, he's just going to power right on through.
Okay, we do know there were wizards outside of that cave, so was always that last little dangerous run across the grass, but no problem. And Game Boy's about to fill up on magic keys. What's so magical about these keys, Jack?
They unlock every door.
And they're also enchanted because they break after 1 use. It's a terribly awesome capitalist idea. Sell something that breaks after 1 use.
Imagine if you had to spend 53 gold every time you wanted to start your car.
My car is keyless, so I'd be all right.
Well, good for you.
Absolutely. All right, nothing hyper valuable there. Maybe a chainmail could be purchased, but with the 2 gold chests at the start, Game Boy could do what the common parlance around here is the ghetto grind. But more importantly, the inn gives a magic key. It's the classic 1 for 2 sale. Spend 2 keys and you get 1 whole key in return. What a ripoff.
I don't know. It seems like a sound investment strategy to me for the innkeeper.
Basically, that whole town is just a key trap. A key pit, if you will. Game Boy finding a warlock far from the slaughter fields of home, so continues the magical education of killing warlocks.
He does have many keys to unlock their secrets.
And there's another one. Speaking of warlocks, now we got one on Schmidt's side. And it's blocking the run attempt from JjSchmidt. There was a brief sighting there of the Big C. The walls of Sharlock were briefly on screen, just to the northeast of where Game Boy is now. Lots of nice enemies here for Game Boy. A couple of warlocks, we got a wolf, and that experience lead is growing and growing. There's a heal spell, though, on the wolf. Not the worst thing in the world with a stop spell. Good to know they have it. Down to 1 herb now is Game Boy. Gonna have to try to finish this wolf off fairly quickly, as JjSchmidt is only 20 experience points away from level 6. There's an excellent move. The wolf is down. And 104 experience for Game Boy F9 to the next level. Meanwhile, the exploration continues, and a knight now for Game Boy wisely runs from the knight, because the knight, higher hit points, good defense. And hey, look, a Metally. It's a metal slime. Will Game Boy get lucky? trying to manip it, and it runs away. He manipped it the wrong way, guys.
It's a very interesting decision to do that command thing. Seems more a superstition than anything, because the RNG is firmly out of the player's control.
We'll just expect that if he wants to validate this particular seed, he may want to try to escape this blue dragon, who has Stop Spell and also has Baby Breath. So honestly, blue dragons might be an okay grind later on in the seed with that setup.
They are certainly well outside of the realm of fightability right now, but those are not terrible abilities to see on an endgame enemy.
A Rogue Scorpion sends Game Boy back home, but this could be to Game Boy's advantage. Use those keys, get a couple gold chests, maybe get some more equipment from Cole or Cantlin. Both are nearby. It looks like instead he's choosing to go check out what is underneath the castle, as it looks like JjSchmidt is trying to get to level 6 off of this Druid.
The Druid will do it. And we know level 6 does have a very 15 attack, although JjSchmidt still without proper equipment. Once he gets this level, he will be able to comfortably fight those warlocks and start catching up on that experience deficit.
It appears to be... it's one of the two big dungeons. I think it is Garen's Grave, based on the movement. We have a Rogue Scorpion who's trying to bring the clamps!
No.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, we've got a few more chests here.
Wings, gold, and a curse belt.
The
now
belt
GameboyF9 being attacked by the darkness. Oh boy. But this sets up a gold grind chance for Game Boy.
Yes, it certainly does, and we do know that there is that highly desirable silver shield just sitting there north of the starting point in Cole. And there was also some nice armoire.
And now Cantlin found by JjSchmidt. And just to cover the gold grind, those 3 chests in the basement are still in memory for GameboyF9, and the 3 chests from the throne room from the start of the game are always in the memory once you've been in the throne room. So that's 6 chests. So now Game Boy needs to open 2 chests here to get to a total of 8. And now on the next chest open, which would be the 9th, the chest does not leave the screen, which allows GameboyF9 to continually collect money or print money, or just rob the king blind. However you want to put it, Game Boy is rolling with them fat stacks.
Indeed he is. And while you were explaining the intricacies of making money in the realms of Alfgard, we did have some purchases on JJ's side. He is now no longer naked, wearing clothes, and is armed himself with a large piece of a tree.
Well,
the club.
Hopefully JjSchmidt can make some money here on the... we'll get through this place, get some money to get a key, and start trying to get into good shape as GameboyF9 is rolling up that money for Silver Shield. Might just go all the way up to 32,300. That is potentially what's going to happen with Cantlin nearby. Game Boy could get a full equip. Nope. Going to stop around, what, 18,000?
Look to be about that, so presumably a full plate and a silver shield.
And a broadsword, probably. If it can be found.
An excellent dodge from the Wraith on JJ's side, and he has been pasted. However, JJ does know where Rimmeldar is now, so keys are in his near future.
Just needs the money. And Game Boy makes it to Cole, so we should be seeing the shiniest of the shields momentarily.
We do indeed.
I guess he forgot that the magic armor was also there. I had not noticed that. It would have been a nice buy with the silver shield.
He does still have money remaining, though, and Cantlin is not too far away. We'll see if he heads there next and looks to spend some of his remaining coinage.
Excellent move on the wizard, but not enough for the kill. That is unfortunate.
No, he rolled the max possible damage on that excellent move, but that's not nearly enough to take a wizard out in one shot.
That's a rough go, but what you gonna do?
Well,
So-
if you are JJ Schmidt, the answer to that question is start fighting some warlocks.
Absolutely. And it appears Game Boy is going to refresh keys and maybe head back downstairs to start another gold grind. Maybe. We shall see.
Or perhaps he'll be looking to fully explore the grave.
That's a possibility as well. Schmidt now heading into the shop at Cole. This place has been pretty busy today. Much busier than your average seed, that is for sure.
That merchant is making bank.
And for those wondering, keep in mind their hit points are only a sparkling 34 at level 7. Diving this grave right now might be difficult, but it appears it is another grind getting set up by Game Boy.
Perhaps not the most efficient way of going about things, needing to grind money twice to purchase equipment from what likely will end up being the same store.
Could just be deciding, you know what, I'm going to get 17,500, pardon me, math is hard, and set up a flame sword and magic armor. Just go to Cantlin and get them that way. With keys in hand, there are 3 shops to peruse after all.
That is true, Brian. Multiple chances to find that flamed sword, which would be an extra 13 attack over the hand axe.
Is the hand axe really 15 attack power? I thought it was 14.
The hand axe is 15, good sir.
Well, either way, it would be a nice little boost to the damage, and the gold grind is back on for Game Boy. JJ Schmidt, meanwhile, has enough money for 2 keys and is trying to make the way over to the Swamp Cave. We haven't seen anything stupid dangerous in here yet, and I feel bad every time I say that because I'm expecting horrible things to jump out, but, you know, commentator's curse, that's just a myth.
We've seen most of the enemy back in the Swamp Cave. I don't think there's too much to be concerned about in there.
Well, we've seen some enemies, but yeah, we haven't seen that dangerous thing that inevitably will come out of the darkness. There is a wizard, though, in this forest, but it just keeps hanging away. So JJ Schmidt will have keys in just a few moments.
Indeed, he's doing the nice little lap around the perimeter of the lake that they built their town on. And he's walking into the store, and he is purchasing his delicious keys.
I wouldn't eat them at 53 gold pieces. That's an expensive snack.
What is the conversion rate on Alifgard gold to the Canadian dollar, I wonder?
They probably have the advantage like nearly every other currency. So, Game Boy F9 now has a stat with an orange shading to it. That means the defense power is getting into range of being good for the end game. So good stuff with that agility at 54 already. Should be seeing more agility gains. The defense might run a little high here, especially having a silver shield to help boost it even further.
I don't think we're particularly concerned about the end game just yet, Brian. We've seen maybe 5 screens total worth of world map on the overworld so far. Exploration has been limited. However, that 73 defense points is going to do a lot of work against these mid to late mid-game enemies. For example, this wolf. That's a free kill, unless he has something nasty up his sleeve that we haven't seen.
So what does JJ Schmidt have here? I don't believe we've seen this town and cave combat.
We have not. We have Garen's hand.
Well, I wonder if we're going to spend a key right now.
I
Indeed.
think that is the play to make here. There are 3 chests just sitting there.
We have gold. We have gold. And we have an herb.
That gold is no small find right now for JJ, who's only got a club and clothes, and there is an equipment store here. As Game Boy hits level 8, and yes, folks, we are not misreading that once again, no strength.
That is now 5 level gains of 0 strength, I believe. 4 for sure. It could be 5.
It is 5 level gains of 0 strength.
Are you getting any flashbacks to a certain 3 hour, 20-some minute, 40-some minute race, Jack?
No, I don't have any whiskey tonight, Brian. I'm also not dressed up like a cartoon skeleton.
Oh, MTI is definitely overdosed on these 0 strength gains, guys. Like, he's dead. Like, a moment of silence.
MTI is in a coma. Someone cast Sleepmore on him. Someone send a cleric. We need to cast some Healmores on him pronto.
Dang, Sleepmore. Hey, we have the harp trade in. That would mean something for Game Boy, but means nothing for JjSchmidt. We will have to have a trip back to Garenham for Schmidt later on. Do we have the mountain cave here? We do indeed.
5 more chests in play for JJ. And assuming he can open up at least 2 of them, we do know that gold duplication is in play. Of course, he hasn't seen the treasure yet, so he doesn't know where said delicious money chest.
It's no longer in play.
No, it is not.
So, for chests that we have yet to see, there are the 2 in the bottom of the grave and the 5 in the mountain. Those are the only remaining chests in the overworld that could have Erdrick's sword. So it's about a 50-50 shot it is going to be in Sherlock or not in Sherlock.
We also haven't seen Sherlock's location on the world just yet, and we still need to find the Stones of Sunlight.
We have actually seen Sherlock briefly. It was on screen for Game Boy. It's to the north of Rimuldar. Or Rimuldar, if you want to say it like some kind of savage.
I am very uncivilized, Brian.
This is true. So into the grave goes JjSchmidt. Takes the wrong path and decides just to use Radiant, make it easier to get to the chests. And probably going to set up a grind here, unless the chests were already raided upstairs. Doesn't appear so.
Nope, he only had 1 key, so he went straight to the merchant to purchase more. Which will end up working out rather nicely for him, as he will have that chest set to duplicate gold.
Well, there's 2 gold chests in the treasury here at the castle. JjSchmidt has 2 more chests to open to then force the exploit of the chest not disappearing. So provided the 2 gold chests are not opened as first and second, well, now it's in... Oh, no, not that one. Oh, good. It's the harp. Thank goodness. So all good to go. Another silver harp get, and of course that was a torch. And here comes the gold for Schmidt.
And he's just diving right into that.
Absolutely. So we'll see how far JjSchmidt is going to take this. Has seen Catelyn. Didn't check the shops, I don't think, but has seen it.
At the very least, he does know of the silver shield up for sale in Cole.
But in the meantime, it's a 500 experience point lead for GameboyF9. Definitely in the driver's pole position of goodness in the lead and all those race terms that I don't know so good. The point is, Game Boy in control right now, but this one is not over by any stretch of the imagination, given the amount of exploration still required.
It's as you said, Brian, he is in the driver's seat, but he is only driving a tricycle so far.
It's like one of those old-timey bikes with the big wheel and the small wheels.
And also the one where like one of the wheels is bigger than the rider and goes around them. One of those crazy things.
Hipster bike, got it. So it appears JjSchmidt is indeed going all the way up to maximum equipment by range. Let's see if that's going to pay off. Hey, there's a cave across that river in a swamp. That could be one of the... I think that would have to be one of the trade caves at this point. I believe we've seen all the other caves.
I believe we've seen every cave except for the Freebie Cave and the Jerks Cave.
We have seen the Freebie Cave. It has a torch. It is near Cantlin. So that would be the Rainbow Drop Cave in that swamp along the river.
Yes, that's right. My mistake. So there we are.
Game Boy is currently 110 experience points away from level 9.
Actually, no, Brian. That cave that we saw across the water is the Freebie Cave, based on where Game Boy is on the map, yes.
Oh, well, look at that. My mistake. So double mistake fun times for everyone. We all make mistakes. Silver Shield and Magic Armor purchase coming here for JjSchmidt. That's a pretty good upgrade. Close to Magic Armor, I guess. You know, if you like upgrades.
I'm more of a fan of remodel myself, but we'll take an upgrade.
As we see both players now heading up into the swamp towards Cantlin, although I think with different goals in mind, at least immediately.
Step right up, folks. We've got a shopping extravaganza going on here. We're slashing prices. Everything must go.
It appears all of that merchant's wares could go in the garbage, because that's what that was. Garbage. We at least have a broadsword available. Buying it now would have left JjSchmidt just short of a flame sword on a sell down and rebuy. Actually, I wouldn't be able to buy it, so what am I even talking about? Let's see, there's a flame sword. No, gotta at least buy that broadsword, you'd think.
He is going to buy the broadsword. So no flame sword, unfortunately, but broadsword is still going to give him an extra 16 attack power over that club.
Looks like JjSchmidt is going to try to go through the barrier tiles here. These tiles, just ahead of JjSchmidt, take 15 hit points per step. A full set of herbs might get you down to the old man, but I don't think you're making it back out. And JjSchmidt decides to not do it at this point in time.
Odd choice, I think. It's always good to know that sort of information, but...
Well, with the extra hit points here...
I think we're going to see the coordinates on Game Boy's side, at least, here. He is stocking up on herbs.
Game Boy with those extra hit points to start will really make this a little easier. Get an extra step before you have to dip into the herbs will really make this an easier thing to take care of. So hopefully, Hark, we have herbs. We have seen one curse belt, so we know that there is... we've seen the fairy flute already, so this could be nothing yet. We have no guarantees, but let's see what happens. We do have a search. It's 25 north and 61 east.
That's quite the set of numbers.
Absolutely.
We haven't been east enough of the castle to know if it's particularly countable or not, but it's at least in play for a count.
And keep in mind,
failing that, the princess is not too far away if it seems to be necessary.
And keep in mind that Game Boy is renowned as one of the better counting players out there in the world of Dragon Warrior Randomizer.
This is true.
This spell list is just making me sad. This looks like it might be countable, potentially, depending how far east we go here. But that was a good chunk east. There's a nice north chunk and more to the east. So this might be countable for Game Boy.
It might work out here. We'll just have to wait and see.
But first things first, this wolf needs to be taught a lesson. And that will get Game Boy really close to level 9. Only 6 experience points away from that gainer.
Very excellent swing of the sword on Schmidt's side is going to take care of a wolf, and he's starting to close in on level 8 here.
Absolutely. Now chasing a specter with a broadsword. And look at this. Wolves on both sides, now specters on both sides.
Yeah, you know, the enemy pack inside of the swamp cave is probably pretty good eats right now with all that nicely bought store equipment.
And a magician who's an easy one-hit kill, take the 8 EXP and head on out the way. Probably still looking for that flame sword. There's 11 power, 5 agility, 1 hit point, 6 magic points, and we get a spell of return and heal. So some nice gains there for Game Boy.
Took quite a while to get another decent level up, but there it is at level 9.
But the strength is still only a measly 41 at this point. Definitely really weak. Hey, Magi Wyvern put to sleep and immediately wakes up. But with all this defense, honestly isn't that scary. Unless it has hurt more or some breath attacks, won't be much of a concern.
We've only seen it swing physically so far, so this should be a winnable battle.
And
especially with
JjSchmidt
that
now. JjSchmidt closing in on that flame sword. Just needs to grab some gold out of the warehouse here in Garrenham.
Well, he's gone to Garrenham here, I'm pretty sure, to trade in his silver harp for a staff of rain.
But can also use the gold in here to get that flame sword.
That is true. Yes, and there it is.
So the max buy is done for JjSchmidt. No, nothing else to buy at this point other than herbs and maybe some torches. Maybe.
Yeah, he has effectively killed the Alifgard gold currency. It is now completely worthless. Hyperinflation is going to kick into place for all those poor residents.
That's fine. They're basically serfs anyway. It's fine. And his music is no longer electric, as we see the Staff of Rain for JjSchmidt.
He's got a nice little walking stick to help him get around.
And now going to head on in to the mountain cave again with better equipment, but still severely lacking in hit points.
Well, we know that the enemies on the first floor here are the pack from the swamp cave, so there's some good eats in there with that high defense right now.
Here comes that level for JjSchmidt. That agility and those hit points are going to help. And a wolf. I don't know if JjSchmidt knows they have heal. Knows
He
now.
does now.
Oh, boy. So for JjSchmidt, finding Erdrick's sword in here would be somewhat of a huge advantage, potentially, but it won't do much to help JJ add much to the attack power. It'll only be another 12 attack power. But the longer Game Boy goes without and we don't see hurt more, the quicker JJ can start catching up on the experience gap.
He has already knocked a couple 100 points off of it, but to be fair, Game Boy has other priorities at the moment as he's trying to count out these coordinates and see what's on the world map.
Well, we know there's something there, and we know the armor, the armoire of invincibility, as some call it, has to be on a search spot. So this 50-50 shot, this is the armor.
Whatever it is, it's necessary, because if it's not the armor, it is going to be the token.
Absolutely. We have a dragon scale on the top floor of the mountain cave, but the real meat of this cave is on the second floor. Attacking a demon knight. Probably a little brave at this point, given the strength.
The strength, somewhat an issue. The defense would make it manageable. We found a death necklace. That could be very important later on, but the hit points are not particularly great either on this seed.
Yeah, the strength ain't very good. Hit points ain't very good. One of those things has to give back eventually. And it was the armor on the overworld for Game Boy F9. So ready to go. We have a second cursed belt, so all 3 search spots are in play. That is 2 different cursed belts, so Hawksness will have Erdrick's token.
And by that logic, the basement of the grave, one of those 2 chests is going to be the Stones of Sunlight. And the Wraith Knights have the dreaded Sleep Dragon Lord 2 Breath 1-2 punch.
There is a lot of fire breath flying around, frying around. Listen to me, that's the Freudian slip if ever I heard it.
There are at least 4 separate enemies with Dragon Lord 2 Breath that I can think of immediately.
More like the Freudian slip. Well played.
I'm not playing the game tonight, Brian. I'm just commentating.
Well, we all have our crosses to bear, I suppose. So JjSchmidt probably going to buy up some herbs here and go check out the coordinates, man, and get those beautiful locations that have Erdrick's armor.
Yes, I would certainly say so. That is definitely what he's doing here.
So the question becomes, will JJ try to count it?
On GameboyF9 side, and once he takes this guy out, he's going to hit level 10.
That'll be a nice gainer there for Game Boy. Let's see if the strength will continue to show up, or will MTI continue to be super excited? Let's see what we got here. We've got power of 5, response of 6, 18 hit points, very nice, 4 magic points, and we have the big hurt. And look at those green numbers. The agility is high, and with that silver shield, the defense is actually in place at this point to keep the Dragon Lord's physical to only, I believe, 48 damage as a max.
True that is, Brian. We've still got a ways to go before we'll be seeing any of that. But 86 defense is very nice just for general purpose use.
And I believe we've not seen Breckenry yet, I don't think. So this could be Breckenry or Hawksness.
No, it's going to be Breckenry. We've seen Hawksness.
Right, Hawksness is near the start. And with Hurtmore, potentially could be taken out. Have we seen the Guardian in Hawks yet?
We have not, no.
We do have a count here from JjSchmidt. Let's see how this works out as it goes along. But in the meantime,
know that it's doable.
Staying at the Motel 6, GameboyF9.
Probably a wise choice to refresh that MP pool now that he's got something to be using with it continuously. Should see the next few levels come much quicker than the first 10 days.
Now I want to see like Magi Wyverns and Knights and Dragons. Oh, we've seen Green Dragons. We've seen Axe Knights, but I don't think we've seen Green Dragons. Oh, that is unfortunate as all get out there. A sneak attack DL2 during the attack, and JjSchmidt goes down.
With any luck, he's got a mental remembrance of where he was on his count, so he can just run right back to that spot and continue from there.
Some tension between the commentators from the chat. I don't know about that. If you knew us, you would definitely know that's not true.
Game Boy already making pretty good use out of that Hurtmore spell. Busted a couple of rogue scorpions up.
And now probably heading to Hawksness to check for the token.
No real reason not to. With Hurtmore, there are a few monsters that are certainly within the realm of possibility to defeat right now.
Looking time-wise, JjSchmidt is behind by a solid, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. It depends how you waylay knowledge of the mountain cave not having anything of any real value in it other than that death necklace, potentially.
And looks like Game Boy is looking for a quick upgrade to a broadsword. You know that they're fail and can't win.
Well, I'm gonna get some herbs here for sure, and then maybe head for the Hawk's Nest. But in the meantime, JjSchmidt is working hard here in the Swamp Cave.
Yeah, he's noticed it's a pretty good zone full of enemies, as I was mentioning there, so we might see him just fight out a couple levels down here. Next kill in this zone should be enough to give him level 9.
And it appears your broadsword prediction will come true for GameboyF9. Going to head down here where there is a broadsword.
I am a very mighty oracle, Brian.
Here comes level 9 for JjSchmidt, which will bring the heal spell. The flame sword is better than the broadsword by, I believe, 8 attack power. To answer the question from the chat, and yes, my co-commentator has typed it out. Look at this guy. It's a triple threat.
I have fingers.
Uh-oh. The Stone Man resisting sleep as fast he can. And we have an Armor Knight, very hurt morable. And it has hurt. Oh boy.
This is not just a winnable battle. This is a pretty good spot to gain a quick level or two with that hurt more spell in tow.
So we're probably going to see some Armored Knight slaughter here after the search is done for the token.
I would not be surprised at all to at least see Game Boy take out 2 more of them to get to level 11 here.
Oh, absolutely. That seems like a foregone conclusion. Just get a quick level, see what you get.
And I have a sneaking suspicion that even after gaining this level here, we have not seen the last of Hawk's Nest tonight.
I mean, the Swamp Cave is... it's about the same distance, and honestly, it's less of a walk in Hawk's Nest. It's probably a wash. Depends what's in the Swamp Cave. The only better grind would be an Axe Knight at this point.
That is true, just for the sake of efficiency. 1 hurt more instead of 2. Oh, the hurt more spell fizzled. A rare fizzle on an Armored Knight there.
It's a 1 in 16 chance. Unfortunate for Game Boy, but here comes level 11. Some decent power. Decent hit points. We got a spell. What did we get here? We got hurt, I believe.
Little outdated at this point, Brian.
Absolutely. Would have been nice to have early on with that bad, brutal strength gains in the early game, but get the spell out of the way and just hopefully see heal more soon.
And then just for the sake of it, spend your remaining MP to get another quick kill in there for another 170 points. Put him well on his way to level 12.
And there's going to be another 70 right now as this Rogue Scorpion foolishly shows up with 1 more hurt more charge in the chamber.
He is out of bullets now, though, Brian.
Yes, but it's not far to a refill. It should be fine. Meanwhile, JjSchmidt is doing what you suggested earlier and grinding in the Swamp Cave, getting close to level 10, and we'll be seeing a hurt more in about 150 experience points.
That hurt more makes a massive, massive difference. He is quite behind on experience right now, but once he gets hurt more, that gap is going to shorten considerably.
So Game Boy still holding down the fort here, but has not seen the mountain cave. So a little bit of a knowledge lead on that side of things for JjSchmidt.
That is basically the remaining thing that Game Boy has to find, is that location where we had both Mountain Cave and Garenham, because Garenham is where you're going to be trading in for the Staff of Rain. And we know there is nothing useful in Mountain Cave, but Game Boy does not know that, and would probably clear the whole thing out unless he decides to just suck it out and go down through the grave proper, which should not be too difficult at this point.
Absolutely not. And as pointed out, we have not seen the Rainbow Drop Cave, so that is one thing that's still floating out there. And ooh, here's a metal slime chance for Game Boy F9. They breathe fire, but it's only baby breath. And there's Hurtmore on JjSchmidt's side. Game Boy still at 1 damage. There's 2 on the metal slime. One more hit will get 255 experience. Can Game Boy do it? Yes!
That's a nice chunk of change right there, Brian.
Absolutely. Sets up the next level here at 3,000 experience points within spitting distance, and that enemy right there will get it done.
Yeah, that is the best enemy to run into when you've got Hurtmore in your arsenal. So Game Boy is going to hit level 12.
14 power, 9 agility, 18 hit points, 25 magic points, and heal more. What a level. What a level.
It doesn't get much better than that, Brian.
You'd have a tough time finding a more overall quality level than that. That was phenomenal. So it looks like JjSchmidt is now on the count, I believe.
That is exactly what he's doing.
Speaking of the armor of invincibility, we failed to explain what that armor does. Jack, why don't you explain every single feature it's got?
Well, the armoire of invincibility, while not a very fashionable piece of furniture with which you can store all the other gear that you've accumulated throughout your journey, is something that you can actually wear on your person. Crazy, I know, to wear a gigantic wooden thing around your person at all times, but it does provide the highest level of protection. It provides magical, mystical regeneration properties where every time you take a step, you feel just a little bit better about yourself by 1 hit point. In addition to that, all those nasty enemies with all their crazy stop spells, yeah, that doesn't work on you no more. You're too loud to be silenced at that point, with all that clanking of your armor. And in addition to that, despite being a wooden piece of furniture, it resists fire. So those fire breath attacks, they get cut by 1/3. Very nice. Oh, and also, sometimes, whenever the enemies want to hurt you, they can't hurt you as much as they used to. So it cuts those hurt and hurt more spells as well. It is a fantastic piece of gear. And you can have this in your home and on your person for the very, very, very low price of 0 gold, providing you are willing to use a map and compass and go digging around randomly somewhere in the world.
There's nothing else to add to that, really, other than maybe the tiles that damage you do no longer damage you. Unless you said that. I might have gotten lost in the lore and the storytelling.
No, I didn't mention that feature. You see, that's more like an added bonus. That's something that you don't want to tell your consumers, because then they're just a little bit more excited when they discover that it does do that really cool thing.
Going for a word-of-mouth advertisement. I get it. I like it. See what you're doing there. So Game Boy F9 is closing in here pretty rapidly on Garenham. I think it's this swamp just to the east. So this will be a good thing for Game Boy to finish the knowledge gain. And now it's just the matter of finding the Rainbow Drop Cave.
It's a cave with rainbows.
Well, hopefully Jack does indeed get better internet soon. Because, you know, it's tough to watch him when he gets restreamed sometimes. So, we see some herb purchases from JjSchmidt, and we have a wolf being a bit mean to Game Boy and using heal.
And Game Boy's had enough of that. He has just decided, no, Wolf, no, man, that's enough. We're done here. We are done.
Oh, indeed, we are still missing the Stones of Sunlight, as pointed out in chat. But GameboyF9 is about to get all the knowledge needed to know where they are, and we'll be getting them in short order after that. We have some fairy water purchases here for JjSchmidt with no repel. Kind of a nice little move here to get around the map a bit easier. This will repel any monsters that cannot break through the defense of our player. So most monsters are not going to attack JjSchmidt now. And yes, Erdrick's Sword is still in the wind. It could be in the grave. It's one of the two chests could be there, or there's 7 chests in Sharlock. And if it's not in Garen's grave, then we could be playing the... I'm not even sure what dollar value pyramid we're on anymore. But since it's the knockout stage, it's got to be the $100,000 pyramid, right?
Well, we did say that hyperinflation was taking place earlier tonight, so yes, it should at least be that much.
Oh, my apologies. Then it's clearly Texas with a $sign pyramid.
Exactly.
Here comes the token on JjSchmidt's side, taking down the Armor Knight. And we'll probably do the same thing that we saw from Game Boy and fight a few more of these guys, get some levels.
He does have 8 heal mores or hurt mores, pardon me, just sitting there waiting to be used. When you've got a shotgun and you've got some buckshot in there, you need to go kill some zombies who are wearing armor and have a big axe and a golden shield and a weird mohawk. And we've got level 13 on Game Boy's side. Nice hit points on that level, but the other stats leaving a little bit to be desired.
Well, that death necklace is potentially going to be in play sooner than later. Level 11 now for JjSchmidt. Indeed, this GameboyF9 lead has been pretty well maintained since finding Rimmildar with enough money for 1 key, getting there a bit ahead of JjSchmidt by about, I'd say 10 to 15 minutes, and the lead is probably around the same range at this point. But there are still some things in the wind. I don't believe JjSchmidt has seen Sharlock yet. We have not seen the Rainbow Drop Cave yet, and we have not seen Erdrick's Sword yet.
That Rainbow Drop Cave could be the killer. He is called the Jerk for a reason, in that he usually likes to set up shop way out in the middle of nowhere.
Those reds are going to be very unfun to deal with if Sharlock is heavy with them. But hey, high agility, so runs are guaranteed. Oh, agility is just a suggestion? Okay, just check.
Agility is life. Agility is love.
We can't do the rest of that meme. We'll get thrown off RPG limit break for the rest of our lives. So moving on. We see GameboyF9 heading down into the basement here. I believe this is the grave downstairs. So it would be GameboyF9 on the dive for the Stones of Sunlight and maybe Erdrick's Sword.
We'll just have to wait and see if we're that fortunate. And by we, I mean them, because, let's face it, we want that sword to be in Sharlock. That makes it so much more fun for us as spectators.
For sure. But Game Boy, I think either way is going to full dive this cave, regardless of the stones being on the side path or not. You got to think you got to go all the way down and make sure the sword's not there.
Yeah, have to check them both. No way around it. And we've got
the grind is real here. The grind is real.
Right back, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Probably wants to get that experience going, get some stats going. That strength stat is wildly concerning at this point in time. And hey, speaking of the killing monster, we do have a red dragon in in the grave here. Game Boy desperately tries to stop spell. It misses. Can't run away. Sleep has landed. Here comes the fire breath. Wakes up with 2 hit points. Can't get away. Game Boy is going to have to redive.
Yes, Brian, that is a 2-minute penalty for too many warriors in the dragon.
I mean, like, are we talking like Empire with the Tauntaun, like in the Red Dragon, like that?
Well, if you were a red dragon, you wouldn't just leave a perfectly succulent piece of human flesh just leaving there. You'd eat it, man.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd want to mess with red dragon flesh. I really feel like the smell would stick to you, and more red dragons would be drawn in to get vengeance for their fallen comrade. That Axe Knight's a nice pickup for GameboyF9. That's what the type of enemy Game Boy wants to see, not those red dragons.
While is making nice strategic use of the favor item. What that
Absolutely.
does is there's a point in time where, well, it is fun to just go around clubbing slimes forever. It becomes more of a time waster than a time saver. So you use that fairy water or cast repel, which our players are not fortunate enough yet to have, and a lot of those weaker enemies just aren't even going to show up and bother you.
JjSchmidt with an in check, going to be disappointed with that magic key.
The old 1-for-2 special, don't you know?
All right, GameboyF9 closing in on the 4th chest of Garen's Grave, but the red dragons are in play, I believe, on this floor. It's not a 2-for-1 sale, Amazing Toaster. That's a 1-for-2 sale. And there's the stones on the sidebar. Does Game Boy dive to the bottom now to make sure the sword's not in here?
I think you kind of have to, because it's a significant time loss if it ends up being here and you skip it and check everything, Charlotte, and then have to go all the way back to the start and check this one chest to pick it up. So it's best to get that out of the way right now. And we have JJ hot on his heels. He's heading down into the grave. He's going to collect his stones of sunlight as well very shortly.
So, with the stones in hand, Game Boy could visit the Rainbow Drop Cave, the Jerk Cave, as some parlance puts it. But the question becomes, do you go out looking, or are you just going to grind first? I think you just have to get the homework done and then worry about the grind after the fact.
Absolutely, Brian. It's always, I would say, a better choice to get your exploration out of the way first, because you are still going to get into random encounters on the way. And it pays off. There is the big stick at the bottom of the grave.
If someone had managed to dive this earlier, it would have been interesting to see how that played out. But regardless, JjSchmidt now looking to get the Stones of Sunlight and Erdrick's Sword from the grave, while GameboyF9 is either going to go grind a bit or try to find that rainbow drop. And there's the red dragon trying to penalize JjSchmidt. I don't think JjSchmidt has seen one yet.
Please, Mr. Linesman, let the players fight.
Game Boy
is going to go right back to Hawksness and gain some levels. That rainbow drop is going to have to wait. And JjSchmidt is crispy yet again. And that puts his death counter at 20. Brian, tell him what he's won!
The chance to start over with only half his money, like every other time?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I gotta say, the king is also running a mighty fine racket. There's a lot of good capitalists in this particular kingdom. The key scam being run. You've got the king just stealing money left and right. It's pretty great.
And you've got the warriors just heading into the mint and just printing money. See? Capitalism does work.
It works for those with the means of production, I suppose.
So once JJ gets the remaining items inside the grave here, both players will be at equal standing in terms of everything that they've found. Big difference right now is that Game Boy's got a 2,000 experience point lead, and as long as he continues to hurt this armored knight more, that is just going to keep growing. We've got level 14 for Game Boy.
That might wake MTI up out of the coma. That was a double 0 on that level.
At least the strength was there. That is the one stat that we are lacking right now. As we can see from those helpfully color-coded numbers, they're looking pretty okay.
Everything's looking all right, and it will give time for a little more magic to show up, for more heal mores as well. We're setting up here for, if I had to guess, probably a level 16 victory is what I'm going to predict. Would be the minimum they need to get to. I don't think 15 will quite get them there.
It remains to be seen. It all depends on what that strength gain is going to be at level 15. And Game Boy's going to exhaust his supply of ammunition here, so now he's stuck with the bayonet, but that's going to get that done. And he's going to just walk right back in there and, well, depending on what the Armored Knight chooses to do, he might get one more kill out of this run, but no, that's it.
Much how Sigma fan would say it, that was a perfect bid. 23 hit points, 23 damage. Stones of Sunlight for JjSchmidt. Now, will JJ make the full dive? I would assume so. It is the play to make if you know every other chest has been exhausted on the overworld, and you're already this far down in the grave.
It's not too much more of a walk to go all the way down, and with the lack of outside being cast, I think he is going to make the safe play and have a look at it, and we know he's going to be rewarded for playing smart.
Absolutely. So are we going to see a check here of the enemy in the Swamp Cave? It's a closer heal from Rimmildar, especially with outside dumping you on the outside. So an Armor Knight, an Axe Knight, both will be pretty good here. What do we got? We have an Axe Knight. Fantastic news for Game Boy F9.
The experience grind just got even better.
We have another Red Dragon trying to stop JjSchmidt. Uses a heal. Interesting.
Trying to fish for a blocked sleep spell is what he was doing there.
I see. But as we've seen, it's only 25%, so the Red Dragons are definitely going to be resisting that more often than not.
Oh, there's an excellent move for JJ, and yes, there we go. There's the first Red Dragon kill of the night. Nice chunk of 255 experience points there. Hard to argue with that.
Here comes level 13 for JjSchmidt, while we have Game Boy F9 pretty rapidly closing in on level 15.
He is interrogating the Spanish Inquisition, Brian.
For sure. So things are looking good right now for Game Boy F9, but we have not seen the Rainbow Drop Cave yet. But I suspect Game Boy will probably just grind this out, exit, heal up at Rimmildar. Probably hoping for Repel is what I'm guessing Game Boy wants before trying to find that Rainbow Drop. We haven't seen anything up near Sharlock. It might be right on the outside of Sharlock Castle walls.
It has happened before and has seemed to happen a few times recently.
Well, here comes level 15 for Game Boy F9. We shall wait and see the stats. We want to see about 14 strength. We only get 4, though. But some nice gains in the other stats. Looking really good here. That was some nice magic. Another heal more available. Long term.
And that slight agility boost has actually defense broken this Axe Knight. Not that matters too much spamming her, but the odd time where you don't get that instant kill, he's not going to retaliate for any meaningful damage.
If they would have had Stop Spell or Hurt, you could have just grinded on them with your physical attacks endlessly.
You most certainly could have, but in the interest of saving time, it's much faster to cast and be done with it probably a good 9 and 10 times.
Absolutely. JJ now, with the sword in hand, has left Garen's grave, successfully getting away from that red dragon earlier with a big kill. And now on the move, trying to find the Rainbow Drop Cave and Sharlock. I don't believe JJ Schmidt has seen Sharlock yet.
Yeah, it's time for us to have a look around the world with JJ Schmidt.
And GameboyF9, no repel at 15, is just going to head right back in and grind up to 16. Needs the stats anyway, get repel. I like this play.
Yeah, that repel spell will save quite a bit of time as we start honestly, but with purpose, looking for that jerk cave.
Here's JJ Schmidt is trying to the east of Tanagel, not actually right around where Erdrick's armor was located.
We'll have a look in that area and see if it's there. And like Russell Crowe, Brian, JJ is making movies, making songs, and fighting around the world.
And that's all we can do with that meme. You really need more family-friendly memes, Jack.
I have a family. They're my friends.
They're good people. All right, so a dead end as JJ Schmidt reaches the southeast part of the map. We'll now try to work up this eastern coast, maybe finding the Rainbow Drop Cave. Meanwhile, GameboyF9 grinding away to level 16 to get the repel spell to allow for exploration without constant harassment, like this Drakey that's bothering JJ Schmidt.
I do believe we've seen the last of Tasty Drakey's barbecue extravaganza, however. With that armor and that hit point total, even a sneak attack is just a minor annoyance at this point.
Yeah, it's not near as dangerous once you have Erdrick's armor, because it drops it into the 40s as opposed to the 60s or 70s of damage.
And as we've just eclipsed the 90-minute mark of the siege, we've got GameboyF9 about 5 kills away from level 16. JJ Schmidt looking for the jerk cave on the overworld. He's a solid 4,500 experience points behind.
Question in chat.
Still a fair amount of things to be decided, but it is looking pretty good for Game Boy so far.
First of all, JJ Schmidt with the validation of the seed, searching the Sparkover Island over the Sparkover Bridge. But secondly, we've had a question of how bad have the levels up been. Levels 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, and I believe 14 had 0 strength gain.
Right you are, Brian. Our hero may have skipped arm day at the gym a few times.
Or every time. And with this Axe Knight, GameboyF9 is going to get to level 16, finishing it off with a sword swing. We shall see what kind of stats we're going to get. We're looking for a double-digit strength gain, pretty much, is what we want. And, of course, Repel will show up. Only 3 power, though, so not great. Not enough hit points to, well, no, not really enough to use the Death Necklace yet. Could use it, but it'd be a little dicey.
Nope, and Game Boy has 0 interest in even trying anything. It looks like he's just going to get a few more quick Axe Knight kills here, and we're going to end up seeing level 17 on his side.
I like this play again from Game Boy. Just going to finish out the magic points, head out. Might head back in to grind up to 17, figuring that the Rainbow Drop is going to be on the second continent, having seen more of the mainland. But we'll have to wait and see what happens after the inn refill. Meanwhile, JJ Schmidt continuing to explore and looking for the Rainbow Drop Cave.
We've seen some nice scenic vistas of the realm of Alefgard, but we have not seen a cave that may have a rainbow drop inside.
Yes, the Death Necklace could be used here. It would be risky, though. It would be a play where if you feel you're very behind, you've got to just take a crack at it. We actually did see one of those in the round of 32, where I believe Jay Coper won a Dragon Lord fight with, 88 hit points as the max?
Yes, that's right, Brian. That's exactly what it was.
And it worked out, and Jay Coper has moved on to this round of 16, whose match will be coming up later this week. So if you want to see bold stratagems, you want to check that one out.
Absolutely. Bold can go quite a long way in this randomizer. We've said it before, we'll say it again. It is a gambler's randomizer. Pushing the envelope, going for crazy, outlandish things often seems to reward you.
We also had Thurwolf, who won with 91 hit points in the past week as well. So well played by both Jay Coper and Thurwolf. So where do we stand right now? Both players do not know where the Rainbow Drop Cave is. GameboyF9 is just choosing to get the grind done now, figuring that the Rainbow Drop's going to be somewhere around Sherlock. He can probably just refill and go. And JjSchmidt has decided to look for the cave, and I believe has exhausted the main land. So it will be over on the side with Sherlock through the Swamp Cave.
Yes, we've seen everything on the initial continent. And so we're seeing JJ looks like he's making a beeline for Swamp Cave, and he's going to continue his search over on the other half of the world.
Indeed, and JjSchmidt just outsiding and heading on through. Sherlock is just to the north here of Rimeldar, a little north and possibly minorly east, but basically north. We haven't seen much around it. Now, the question is, does Game Boy know where Sherlock is? It was only on his screen for a moment, like the corner of it. Have to wait and see. And that looks like a cave we haven't seen, so that's probably the Rainbow Drop right there on JjSchmidt's side.
Could very well be.
And indeed. And his drop is now ready to go.
You can go construct a bridge out of her.
Looks like JjSchmidt's just going to start looking around for Sherlock as well. Meanwhile, GameboyF9 is rapidly closing in on level 17 here, hoping for a little more strength. Really just hoping to see like a 20-plus strength gain and have a free time of it after that.
That would certainly be ideal for him. He does still have a bit of trekking to do on the overworld. We did just see the corner of Sherlock on JjSchmidt's side. I don't know if he noticed it or not, because he's not really heading back towards it.
Keep in mind that both players have not seen Sherlock proper. They've not seen the actual castle. They've both just seen an edge of the wall. So after this Axe Knight is defeated, GameboyF9 will be one Axe Knight away from leveling up to level 17.
And here's it going to be. So let's see what we get at number 17.
It appears JjSchmidt is heading right for Hawksnest, not knowing about the Axe Knight in Swamp Cave. Level 17 has 7 power, 7 agility, 12 hit points, 2 magic points. That is a... Oh, we're just short on the magic points. I thought there'd be another one available, but the Death Necklace is in play for GameboyF9.
Those stats, I think, are more than good enough to get this thing done. That 100 defense is going to be very helpful on the trek through Sherlock Castle, as 100 defense points is enough to defense break everything up to and including the Stone Man. So only the nastiest of nasties are going to pose any real danger on the way down. And with Rainbow Drop in hand, JJ is headed back to start his grind. So Game Boy is now officially out and looking for the Rainbow Cave. We saw him run into and escape from a slime. Perhaps he forgot that he has Repel in the arsenal. JJ will make some rapid progress on leveling here, but definitely he does not seem to have noticed, or rather did not check, that the spike tile inside the swamp cave is an Axe Knight and is a considerably more desirable location speed-wise, as you are pretty likely to kill the Axe Knight in one shot of Hurtmore instead of two, like with these Armored Knights. And although the overall experience might be a little less per battle, if you run a sequence of 10 battles each back-to-back, the Axe Knight will be much faster for leveling than the Armored Knight.
Absolutely. GameboyF9 now into the Rainbow Drop Cave. So we should be seeing a dive here momentarily for the win.
He does have all his resources intact here, so yeah, absolutely. There's really nothing preventing him from trying to finish this thing off right now.
I don't believe GameboyF9 forgot about the jerk. Really just was checking past Sharlock first. Just hadn't seen it yet. Wanted to get that grind done, got it done, got Repel good to go.
Yeah, although Repel hasn't actually been used on Game Boy's side.
Oh, how interesting is that? I guess just wanted to go full save.
Well, he does have all of his MP intact there. He's got 11 heal mores worth of juice there and a little bit of extra for a trip on the way down, a stop spell if needed for a dreaded red dragon, if that happens to be Dragon Lord's personal bodyguard this go around.
So with 100 defense power, what can GameboyF9 fight safely on the way down here? Only 1500 from the next level could conceivably fight some enemies. We know blue dragons aren't that dangerous.
No, the only enemies that can damage him reasonably with a physical are the aforementioned red dragons, the Armored Knight, and the Golem. And the Golem, of course, not much of a threat when you have the Fairy Flute in tow.
I know for sure my co-commentator would definitely grind on the way down here, just because that's what Jack likes to do.
In some cases, it is faster to just swing twice at the weak enemies, rather than risk a run failing a few times.
Like that Axe Knight, for example, would be a good candidate.
They are, in fact, good eats.
So far, the enemy set doesn't seem horrifically terrible. There's a lot of easy stuff here at the top of Sharlock, but if you're going to have a rough go in Sharlock, you prefer the bad enemies at the top, not the bottom.
Absolutely, Brian. We've still got 2 more enemy packs to go through. We haven't seen the dreaded red dragons yet, mercifully, though.
And the reds aren't hyper dangerous, but that sleep spell can really be a great equalizer. But if here's Game Boy's just going to run from everything, go for the win. Meanwhile, JjSchmidt's going to hit 15 here with this kill.
Indeed he is. Level 15, however, we know is...
There's a green dragon. That's the first one we've seen, I believe. And it's
right you are, Brian.
Like a champ. And there's his brother, the green dragon. So we should see a new enemy set, I believe.
We're already in the new enemy set.
Oh,
we
yeah,
are
this
in
would be
monster pack number 2.
This would be an easy grind on the way down thus far. A lot of easy cut 'em up enemies.
Absolutely.
And the Stone Man defense broken as well. Just laughing off that big punch from a stone monster. 2 damage. And there's the red dragon. Let's see what happens here for Game Boy.
Yeah, we've got red dragons in the barracks. So we are on the last pack of monsters and the red dragon is there. And Game Boy has been put to sleep.
Wake up, Game Boy.
Still asleep. He awakes. He's going to run for it and he makes it. A couple of herbs to top off now that we know that those nasties are in play.
So Game Boy's had his one red dragon encounter. He's good now. That was the true boss. Now it's all gravy from here.
Yeah, we are down on the final floor of Sherlock. And Game Boy is going to have a quick look at the treasury here.
Fighter's ring check.
That fighter's ring would be nice. Would put him up to an even 132 attack power, which would change his damage range from 7 to 15 to 8 to 16. So
great play here. Veteran move, as they say. Veteran move. A two-time defending champ. Just increased the floor and the ceiling of the damage. Well played.
Yeah, that's one more damage on every single attack that you throw at Dragon Lord 2. And when you're expected to need a good 13 or 14 swings, that's not an insignificant amount at all.
You gotta presume you're going to have a bunch of decent attacks. Good stuff there for sure, as Game Boy continues to maneuver through the final floor of Sherlock.
Ran into a stone man, bobbed when he should have weaved, but then he's able to get away on the second try.
Well, we have a red dragon, though. First turn run there. Very nice. Him going for the ring would maybe suggest no death necklace, but I think we're going to see the death necklace from Game Boy here. I just think that's the play. It just speeds up the fight.
I really see no reason not to use it, to be perfectly honest. The hit points are at a very safe level to put it on. The defense is more than high. That attacks are going to be a nice break from the barrage of fire breath. You've got 11 heal mores in reserve. Death Necklace is a solid play to 1 or 2 rounds of combat off the fight here.
He thought about it, but decided to go without the Death Necklace. Just gonna go right after the Dragon Lord, and is Game Boy a fool? Indeed.
Indeed he is. Had to stop and think about it for a moment there. We've seen that mistake a few times, and that is a huge disaster if it happens. That is basically the loss right there.
Changed his mind, ran away, is now putting on the Death Necklace, and will resume being a fool. So that changes the attack range to 10 to 21 on Dragon Lord 2.
That is exactly where we're at, yes. So on average, 2.5 more damage per attack from where he was before. And we've got Game Boy fishing for a stop spell here, or a weak physical attack. Does not get one.
Thankfully, doesn't have to use a heal more there if that attack had been lowballed. Let's see if DL2 gets a sneak attack. Nope. So an opening salvo for 14.
And we've got a follow-up strike coming in for another 14.
Up to 28 damage. And there's only 9 heal mores left. Need to see slightly better rolls, but should still be okay here. That's a nice roll. Up to 45 now.
Comfortably on pace to win this.
That puts him up to 61.
Dragon Lord's max hit point range can be anywhere between 150 and 165.
That 11 is a bit of a low roll, up to 72 now with 6 heal mores left in reserve.
That 15 will put us up to 90 even.
There's an 18, a very nice roll. Looking really good for Game Boy now. Looking really nice.
He's done 108 damage so far, and he still has 4 heal mores left in the tank.
A max 21 on that attack. Beautiful.
That's 129. I think there's basically no way Game Boy can lose this unless there's a miss menu now.
It's all over, but bathing in the Dragon Lord's blood.
Yeah, we're at 145. This next attack could conceivably do it. No, 160. So we've got a Dragon Lord with some pretty high health here, but it's not going to matter. This attack is going to do it. And there it is, folks. Tonight's
Get your
winner.
GG's out.
Tonight's winner. GG's for GB. Congratulations, son. You fought the dragons and didn't afraid of anything, and you did it faster than the other guys, so you are tonight's winner.
Game Boy fought the dragons, and the outlaw won.
And we have him finishing with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 41 seconds.
So the defending champion will be moving into, I believe it's the quarterfinals next week.
The Elite Eight, yes.
Fortunate for JjSchmidt, made a charge here to get into things at this point, but just isn't going to quite be JjSchmidt's day.
Yeah, he was able to cut into that experience deficit pretty good towards the end there, but difference in grind and Game Boy finding that one key considerably early gave him an early advantage, and he just put his foot on the gas pedal and he never looked back.
Yep. Got that lead, never relinquished it, and just continued to push things along. A well-played, expertly executed run from our two-time defending champion, who's in the run for the three-peat. And it appears that JjSchmidt has maybe forfeited, isn't moving anymore anyway. So there might just be some typing back and forth going on.
JJ has forfeited from the race in SRL, but he says he is going to continue to finish the seed on his own time.
I believe we have someone joining us in the channel right now. I wonder who it is.
Hey, GG Game Boy.
Oh, thank you very much. That was a seed.
Yes, it was.
So I have a question. Did you guys enjoy levels 2, 3, 5, 7, and 8?
Not personally, no.
Because some of the chat sure enjoyed it. We're pretty sure that Empty Eye is in a coma after that many empty strength gains.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I am so glad that I went to Swamp Cave when I did. What was it, level 2, level 3, something like that? And then I just happened to have enough money to get a key.
You were
that
level
was
4
huge.
at the time, I believe.
You had 71 gold, I think was the exact amount you had when you found Rimmildar.
Man, I figured either you went super early or I did everything perfectly after that. So when you got done there, I knew you'd just beat me to Rimmildar by at least a fair.
Yeah, and I think were you grinding on Armored Knights at the end?
Yeah, hurt more and just swatting.
Yeah, I found Axe Knights over in the Swamp Cave, so that's where I went.
See, I figured, I was like, the odds of it being an Axe Knight are low and the Armored Knight's doing hurt, so it wasn't even a priority for me to check. But, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, that play to check the Swamp Cave, you just cast outside, step back in, and headed down there. And we'd actually theorized that, like, is there a better grind than the Armored Knights? We're like, well, the Swamp Cave could have Axe Knights, I suppose. And then, sure enough, there it was. Game Boy taking advantage of that great setup.
Yeah. Who picked up Erdrick's sword first?
It was you, Game Boy, by about 3 to 5 minutes. You both were more or less diving the grave at the same time, but your experience point lead was still heavily intact at that point, and it just started growing after that when you started wrecking those Axe Knights.
Yeah. How often do you see a seed where you damage break a Magi Wyvern and it takes you like 5 or 6 rounds to win?
Jack and I were thoroughly enjoying that when that was happening. That was pretty great.
I was enjoying the cook-off at the start of the race myself.
Well, you know what they say, murder bat's gonna murder bat.
Yeah, no, though I was very close to calling for a reseed. I was close, but and then eventually Red Slimes finally showed up, and I just didn't realize I was always in zone 1 instead of zone 0. So I could have picked up some slimes or eventually some ghosts, but it all worked out.
Yeah, early
Yeah, it
on,
did seem like the castle was right on the corner of the different zones.
It
Yeah,
definitely was.
I was gonna say early on, JjSchmidt was getting the slimes in the forest just to the northeast of Tanagel, whereas Game Boy was working the western part of the forest and trying to find reds, but there was not as much friendly stuff in with them. So an early lead for JjSchmidt, but after that, once things kind of moved along and it evened out, the first real big gainer or lead that was obtained before the keys even, Game Boy was able to start taking down scorpions, which was really helpful for getting a bit of a lead and getting some money.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at those zones. I was a little confused by the zones. I figured out that line left to right, but as far as where ghosts and scorpions were, that kind of baffled me for a little while.
It
Yeah.
also, I was going to say, it also didn't help out that wizards, I think, were in the same zone as a low encounter, but I think they were in with the scorpions.
I think they must have been, because I think that's where the ghosts were too, and it must have been like Ghost, Magidraki, Scorpion, Wizard, and something else. It's funny, a normal seed that I play, I probably wouldn't have even spread out to those other locations that early. I would have just stuck with the grind, but watching Game Boy a little bit, I know he'll take flyers on locations. Just happened to be that swamp cave was the last direction I looked at, I guess.
So I'm going to vastly change subject in this for a second. I see Demarine showing a new sleeping through the passage of time. Well, I hope she wakes up. She's about to do commentary with me.
Indeed, we have another race starting, like, theoretically in 3 minutes from now on this very same channel. Another round of 16 matchup.
Well, I'll clear out of here, but GG Game Boy, you're not a champion for nothing, so it was just a pleasure to race against you, and happy to get to that round of 16 again this year, and wish you the best of luck here in the quarterfinals and onward.
Yeah, the feeling's mutual, JJ. That was of course, you knocked out Jack in the first round. That was a very excellent accomplishment, and you clearly had a very good run against me. So I hope we'll see you in the league come winter time.
Yep, hoping to make it this time around.
All right, catch you all later.
All right, folks, that was GameboyF9, tonight's winner, and JjSchmidt77, tonight's runner-up.
And be sure to follow the runners and the tracker and the restreamer and your comms if you feel like it as well. Like I said, just coming up in a few minutes here, we will be briefly going offline to relaunch for the next race, but it'll be on this channel right here, RPG Limit Break, starting probably in the next 10 minutes. We are going to be seeing this next matchup. There'll be no raid, there'll be no host, so hang around. There's more Dragon Warrior Randomizer action coming your way.
You don't want to miss it. And remember, until next time, this is JackimusWedge signing off, joined by brisulph.